Okay, we are right before Pesach, and everybody's preparing for Pesach.
See, you're going to get your Pesach shiur.
That's what I want.
So one of the things that we should prepare for Pesach is to be spiritually prepared for Pesach. We have to remember that we started as a nation in Golos. This is also something very weird about the history of the Jewish nation. You know, you become a nation in Golos. And then we went out of this Golos, and this is Yetzias Mitzrayim, and this is what Pesach is all about. The first commandment, the first mitzvah in Aseret HaDibrot is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Asher Hotzeticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim Mebet Avadim. So this mitzvah is a mitzvah to know that there is Hashem because He took us out of Mitzrayim with all the miracles that happened. So He showed that He is the master of the universe through the 10 Makat of Mitzrayim, the Kriyas Yamsuf, etc. The question that I want to present and try to understand it deeper is Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzeticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. The question is, how did we get there in the first place? He also made us going there. And the question is why? Golus is always punishment for a chet. We see it constantly in the Torah. The first chet Adam Rishon, caused him Golus. And the understanding of it, I believe that maybe in the past we spoke about this over here, but it was a long time ago on different occasion. The Mishnah in Avos says, אל תהי בז לכל אדם שאין לך דבר שאין לו מקום ואין לך אדם שאין לו שעה. אין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. There is no thing that has no place. The place is the thing that things should be in. Without place, nobody or nothing could exist. When Hashem created Adam Rishon, He put him in Gan Eden, and Gan Eden is his place. When he sinned, he lost the place. The deep idea behind it is the following. Chet in Hebrew is actually parallel to the word missing. When you have a target, you have one place in the target that if the arrow hit there, it's good. There are endless ways to miss the target. In Hebrew, to miss the target is lehachti. Lehachti, to miss the target. So, and this is the definition of chet. Chet is when you put things not in the place they belong. So Hashem told Adam Rishon to do something, he didn't do it. This is the chet, this is the missing. When you miss the target, you put things not in their place, therefore you lost your place. So this is the idea in general of Golus. The question is, again, why the Jewish nation has to create it in Golus. So many people start the story of Golus Mitzrayim in Sefer Shemot. Actually, it started much earlier. It's mentioned in Sefer Bereshis, in Parshat Lech Lecha, when Hashem says to Avraham Avinu, Lech Lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladetcha u'mibet avicha el ha'aretz asher areika. So Hashem directs him to a certain place in the world that the mission that he took on himself to spread the spiritual truth that there is only one power beyond everything. Hashem told him it will not be successful over here where you are now. There is only one place in the world that it should be successful. So follow me, I'll take you to this place. El ha'aretz asher areika. Another thing he said to him in the same pasuk, Lech lecha el ha'aretz asher areika ve'escha legoy gadol, and I will make out of you a great nation. Meaning two things. First of all, this is not the place, and it's not a mission for one person, it's a mission for a nation, and I'm going to make this nation out of you. So, Avraham with this promise went to the land of Canaan, and Hashem promised him again and again that he's going to give him this land, but in Bris Ben HaBesorim, Hashem says to Avram the following, in Parshas Lech Lecha, Perek Tetvav. Vayomer leAvram, I'm quoting from Brit Ben HaBetarim. Vayomer leAvram, Yadoa Teida. And be aware of the double Yediah over here. Yadoa Teida. Ki ger yeh zaracha be'eretz lo lahem. Va'avadum ve'inu otam 400 shana. And again, be aware of the three things. Ger yeh zaracha. They will be foreigners, not in their land, meaning not in this land, because I promise you this land. So they will be foreigner, not in this land, in different land. Va'avadum, they will not be free people, they will be slaves. Ve'inu otam, they will be tortured slaves. So there are three things. V'gam et hagoy asher ya'avodu dan anochi. Hashem promised that the people, the nation that will make this, your children suffering, they're going to pay the price at the end. וגם את הגוי אשר יעבודו דן אנוכי, ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. And it seems, ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול, and at the end, they will come out with a great fortune. So it seems that this is the justification. You know, it's worth, because at the end, they will be wealthy. And again, of course, the question is, if Hashem wants to give Avraham money or his children money, there are other ways. Why this way? And here start actually Golus Babel, Golus Mitzrayim. Because before Yitzchak was born, before the nation was here, Hashem says to Avraham, Yadoa Teida, and the double Yediah, meaning this is the way it should be, and there is no other way that it could be.
Wait, Bris Ben Absarim, you said? This is where this is from? The Yadoa Teida is
Bris Ben Absarim, Perek Tetvav, Parashat Lech Lecha. Let me quote it again. Vayomer leAvram, Yadoa Teida, Hashem says to Avram, Yadoa Teida, ki ger yeh zaracha, meaning the promise that I promised you, that I will make out of you a great nation. This great nation will be foreigners in other countries, not in this country. They will be slaves and they will be tortured. ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. So, why? Avraham Avinu was the only one who knew the truth, was ready to fight for it, was against the entire world. Avraham Ivri, he is from one side, the other world, all the other people from the other. And Hashem liked him, and Hashem told him, I'm gonna. The question is, why it should be this way? On what sin, on why we were punished? Because we're talking about Golus, and as we said before, Golus is a punishment for a chet. It seems that Avraham Avinu didn't do a chet, he just did the opposite. When everybody was sinning, he was the one who knows the truth. So, to understand this, let's go to the Haggadah, and that will help us maybe enhance or upgrade our understanding of things that we say in the Haggadah. In the Haggadah, there is the Haggadah bring quote a Mishnah in Masechet Brachot, the last Mishnah of Perek Aleph in Masechet Brachot, and the Mishnah says the following: Maskirin Yetziat Mitzrayim Balelot. You should mention Yetzias Mitzrayim at night time. Why the Mishnah emphasizes this? Meaning, without this, we could think that we do not have to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim Balelot. So what's the meaning? What's the Mishnah wants to say? I'll continue or quote the entire thing and then. מזכירים יציאת מצרים בלילות, אמר רבי אלעזר בן עזריה, הרי אני כבן 70 שנה ולא זכיתי שתאמר יציאת מצרים בלילות. So everybody familiar with this. This is the Haggadah, right? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, you have to know, was the head of the Sanhedrin at the time, because it was a problem with the president of the Sanhedrin, which is Rabban Gamliel. They put him down and put Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah instead of him, and he, at the same day, he said a lot of things, and this is one of them, and he says the following: I'm like 70 years old, and something bothers me always. I didn't understand why we sang Yetzias Mitzrayim at night time. So the entire thing about Yetzias Mitzrayim at night time needs explanation. Ad shedrasha ben Zoma, and then I heard it from Rabbi Shimon ben Zoma, he said, he quoted the pasuk שנאמר למען תזכור את יום צאתך מארץ מצרים כל ימי חייך. He quoted the pasuk in Sefer Devarim that you should remember. There's a mitzvah in the Torah to remember יציאת מצרים כל ימי חייך. So what he learned, what Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah learned from Ben Zoma, ימי חייך הימים, כל ימי חייך הלילות. You should remember יציאת מצרים on daytime and nighttime. So what's the story behind it? Well, what is the meaning of why we should think that maybe Yetzias Mitzrayim should not be saying at nighttime? Why it bothers so much Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and how he calmed down because he learned it. Okay? So what's the idea of Yetzias Mitzrayim and to remember it in nighttime? We know that many mitzvahs of the Torah are Zecher L'Yetziat Mitzrayim. The reason for it, that Yetzias Mitzrayim, as I mentioned in the beginning, was the one time in the history that Hashem, for a pretty long time, 12 months, the Mishnah says that the 10 makos in Mitzrayim was in 12 months, 12 chodesh, 12 months. In those 12 months, Hashem shows, once in the history, since the beginning, since Hashem created the world until today, He showed clearly that He is the master of the universe through the fact that He is controlling the laws of nature. And actually, this is the meaning behind the first commandment in the Aseret Dibros, Anochi Hashem Elokecha Shehotzaticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim Ve'beit Avadim. I assume that you're familiar with this. If you do not, if you do not, and you want more, I will go to more details. But what is the mitzvah of Anochi Hashem Elokecha? I mean, what is the mitzvah here? It's one of the 10 mitzvahs in Aseret Dibros. It's one of the 613 mitzvahs in Torah, and it seems apparently that it's not a mitzvah at all. It's just a declaration. You know who I am? I'm God who took you out of Mitzrayim. So what's a mitzvah? So the mitzvah over here is the Rambam brings it to halacha, and the Ramban agree with this. This is a mitzvah to know that there is Hashem. Not to believe, to know, logically. How? So the Ramban explained, and Rabbeinu Bechaya, the disciple of the Ramban, explained it even in more details. Hashem didn't say over here, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher barati et haolam. I am Hashem who created the world. Why? Because the mitzvah over here is to know, not to believe. Yetzias Mitzrayim, people were there, they saw. Don't forget that Hashem says, Aseret Dibros, 50 days after the Jewish nation went out of Mitzrayim and saw everything, right? So he talked to them and he's saying, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeticha mitzrayim. You saw it in your eyes, and you saw that it proved to you logically that the only power that could take you out of Mitzrayim by changing the laws of nature is the one who created the laws of nature. So because it's a commandment on the Yediyah, not on the Emunah, therefore, Yetzias Mitzrayim is more than the creation of the universe. Because who was there at the sixth day of the creation to see that Hashem created the world? So many mitzvahs of the Torah, Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yetzias Mitzrayim is the base of the 13 principles, 13 Ikarei Emunah. Okay. Now,
wait, so creation of the world is Emunah.
Without Yetzias Mitzrayim, it should be Emunah. But because we have Yetzias Mitzrayim prove logically that Hashem created the world. But if it was based only on this, not on Yetzias Mitzrayim, it will be Emunah. Okay. Okay. Now, there is a mitzvah in the Torah to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim kol yimei chayecha. Again, the pasuk is in Devarim Perek Tet Zayin. Leman tizkor et yom tzedcha me'eretz Mitzrayim kol yimei chayecha. You have to remember this each day of your life. Each day of your life. Now, how do we perform this mitzvah? Because remember, it's not just here. It's like Zochar Asher Osach HaMolek. It's not just in your mind. You have to do something in order to remember. And we know we have to recite. We have to recite, we have to say Zochar Asher Osach HaMolek. So how do we perform this mitzvah of Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim? By the third parsha of Shema. The third parsha of Shema, the last pasuk is Anochi Hashem Elokechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, right? So this is the way we perform this mitzvah. Now is the background of the Mishnah that the Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah discussed in the Haggadah. Mazkirin Yetziat Mitzrayim balelot. So the Mishnah says you have to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim at night time. At daytime, you do not have to say because it's written in the pasuk. למען תזכור את יציאת מצרים כל ימי חייך, right? So Yom, the daytime, mentioned in the pasuk. The nighttime is not mentioned. So why we should think maybe the nighttime is not the time? Because if you look at the three parshiyos of Shema, you could see the three parshiyos of Shema. The first one is dealing with Yichud Hashem, that Hashem is one and unique. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The second, dealing with the mitzvahs, Vayam Shamot Yishmael Mitzvotai. And the third one, actually, if you look at the topic of the third parsha in Shema, you find out that the major issue that discussed there is tzitzis, right? Only at the end there is one pasuk, Anochi Hashem Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם לאלוקים. But the major thing is tzitzis. So here, the thing that bothered Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The Torah says, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and the mitzvah for reciting Shema is B'shochbecha uvkumecha, right? At nighttime and at daytime. B'shochbecha uvkumecha. So what is Shema? Shema is the three parshiyos. And the question is, if it's B'shochbecha uvkumecha, it should be that only in daytime we should mention the three parshiyos, Shema, Vayayim, Shemo, and Vayomer, Parshat Tzitzis. But in nighttime, it will be enough with two, with the first and the second, Shema and Vayayim, Shemo. Why? Because what is the topic of the third parsha? Tzitzis. Tzitzis is not obligated by night, because it says in Parshat Tzitzis, U'item oto uschartem, you should see it, and therefore nashim potter, because it's mitzvah zman grama. U'item oto meaning when you could see it not with artificial light, but in the light of the sun. Therefore, we potter from tzitzis at nighttime. So we could think maybe in mitzvah Shema, b'shoch becha uvkumecha, daytime, three parshiyos. B'shoch becha only two. But we know that we have to say it at nighttime. And the question is why? The answer is not because it's tzitzis, but because of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And because Yetzias Mitzrayim obligated to remember daytime and nighttime, therefore we saying Shema, the Parshat Tzitzis at nighttime. Okay? Now here come Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and he says, הרי אני כבן 70 שנה, ולא זכיתי שתאמר יציאת מצרים בלילות. I didn't understand where in the Torah we find the obligation to say tzitzis, Parshat Tzitzis, at nighttime. Until he learned it from Ben Zoma. What Ben Zoma says, he darshan it from the pasuk. למען תזכור את יום צאתך מארץ מצרים כל ימי חייך. The call comes always in the Torah to say that not just this, but another thing also. לרבות. It's a ריבוי. So, ימי חייך הימים. כל ימי חייך הלילות. Okay, fine. Now everybody's happy. Even Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. We know the source. Now the big question is, why? Of course, Hashem says we have to do it. And we are not darshin an tam adikra. But what's behind it? Why it's so important to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim every day, daytime and nighttime? So the major thing that I will try to learn with you today is something really deep that mentioned in Ramchal. Ramchal discussed it in Derech Hashem at the end of the book. After he explained in the beginning of the book the purpose of the creation, and at the end, the fourth chapter, the four parts. There are 4 parts in the Derech Hashem. The 4 parts of Derech Hashem he discussed with the mitzvos and the meaning of the mitzvos, and in a little bit ta'amei mitzvot in the deeper way from the Kabbalah sources. So he comes to explain the Shema, and he explained each one of the parshiyas. I will recite it to you, and we'll try to understand. I mean, it will be better if it will be the text in front of you, but we'll explain this. What? No, the Ramchal about the third parsha of Shema. So he speaks about Shema, the first parsha. The first parsha is Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, that Hashem is unique, He is one, and we accepting His Malchus. This is Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim. Ahavat Hashem, Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. This is the first parsha. The second parsha, Kabbalat Ol Mitzvot. The mitzvahs, Vayam Shamot Ishma. And the third parsha is Zchiras Yetzias Mitzrayim. So he says the following, הפרשה הראשונה, בה התכוון האדם להתחזק באהבת השם בכל תנאיה. So the first parsha is, our obligation is to be mischazek in ahavas Hashem, which is a big word by itself. What do you mean to love Hashem? But, okay, that's not the time now. But this is the mitzvah. Love Hashem. You know what? One word about this. About how to love Hashem. The meaning of love, as you know, you probably heard so many things about this. Love, the real manifestation of love is giving, right? Mm-hmm. Netina is a function of, ahava is a function of netina. So if so, how could you love Hashem? By giving Hashem something. But what could you give Hashem? Hashem has everything. Everything that we have, we got from Him. What we could give Hashem? So, in brief, we could give Hashem something. In the relationship between giver and receiver, it could be that the giver will give, the receiver will not receive, but the giver give. And this is the case of Rebbe, because we could not give Hashem everything, because we are from Him, everything that we have is from Him. How we could give Him anything? The thing is that Hashem gave us free will. And free will means that it's really free. He's not causing anything. You and your want, doing whatever you want. And you could do positive or negative. You could listen or not listen, right? To love Hashem is to give Hashem what we actually could give Him. Give up our two choices in the free will. And tell Him, you gave us free will, we do not want it. Take it back. We do not want two options, we want only one. We want to do what's right. So take the other one. We do not want the other one. And that, of course, will take a lot from us, a lot of effort. So we give, and He didn't get. But still we give. And the more you give, and it's up to the giver. The more you give, the more you love. Okay? So this is about this. This is Avas Hashem. Okay. Then there are the mitzvos, Vayam Shamoah, the general mitzvos. Vayam Shamoah el mitzvotai, meaning the Tariag mitzvot. And then there is a specific mitzvah, which is tzitzis. This is the last parsha. Now here he explained the thing. I will quote his words and then try to explain them. V'hainu, when he speaks about the third parsha. והיינו, כי הנה יציאת מצרים היה תיקון גדול שנתקנו בו ישראל ונשאר הדבר לנצח. יציאת מצרים, in his words, are a tikkun gadol. Tikkun, how do you translate it to English? In the deep meaning of what tikkun means in Jewish thought.
Soul correction.
Soul correction, a correction, but even that, it's not enough. Tikkun is to fix, Tikkun gadol, yeah, but the question, okay, well, what I want to say is the following. When you speak about tikkun gadol, tikkun is always a reaction to a kilkul. When you have a big kilkul, then you need a big tikkun. So, Yetzias Mitzrayim called, in the words of the Ramchal, in the words of the Machshava and the Kabbalah, it's called Tikkun Gadol. If you heard about the Tikkunim, what's your Tikkun in the world? What's a Tikkun? Tikkun is Tikkun. Tikkun is the mission. The mission of the entire history is to fix. To fix what? Tikkun Gadol for the Kilkul Gadol. What was the Kilkul Gadol? That everything that's happening in the history, to every individual, to the entire human race, is the Tikkun for. A tikkun for what? It's a tikkun for the big kilkul that happened in the beginning of the history by Adam Arishon. Chet Adam Arishon. So everything is to fix this big kilkul. Yetzias Mitzrayim, says the Ramchal, is the tikkun gadol shenitkenu bo Israel that from all the descendants of Adam Rishon, that all of them are under the effect of Chet Adam Rishon, the only ones who got fixed, a big fix, it's not the complete, but the big thing was the Jewish nation only by Yetzias Mitzrayim. So Yetzias Mitzrayim is the Tikkun Gadol. Again, the words of the Ramchal. והיינו, כי יציאת מצרים היה תיקון גדול, שנתקנו בו ישראל, only ישראל. ונשאר הדבר לנצח. נשאר הדבר לנצח, meaning it's irreversible. It's irreversible. When we went out of Egypt, the thing that Yetzias Mitzrayim fixed could not be ruined. In other words, anybody who went out of Mitzrayim could not go back to Mitzrayim. And anybody who didn't went out of Mitzrayim is still in Mitzrayim. And that means all the nations aside from Bnei Israel. So this is the thing. Again, והיינו כי יציאת מצרים היה תיקון גדול שנתקנו בו ישראל ונשאר הדבר לנצח. Now we explain it. והיינו כי מאחר חטאו של אדם הראשון נשאר כל האנושיות כולו מקולקל, כמו שבארנו בחלק א'. Because Adam Rishon was the father of the human race, Adam and Chava, זכר ונקבה בראם ויקרא את שמם אדם, שמם, their name is Adam, and all their descendants until today we called Bnei Adam, we all the children of the first couple. Now, the first time that the free will was about to be actualized were by them. So the first free will has impact on them and automatically on their descendants forever. And they chose wrong. And it was impact to this, and the impact is in all their descendants forever. So here he speaks about the impact. והיינו, כי מאחר חטאו של אדם הראשון נשאר האנושיות כולו מקולקל, כמו שבארנו בחלק א', והיה הרע מתגבר בכולו. It's not the time now to go to Chet Adam Rishon and understand what happened over there, but everybody heard about the tree called Etz Hada'at Tov Vara. Etz Hada'at Tov Vara is a very not good tree. Why? Because it takes the good and mixes it with bad. This is the meaning of it. Etz Hada'at Tov Vara, dat is a chibur, and it takes the good and mixes it with bad, and actually the bad took over. In the Kabbalah, it's mentioned that, or described, that in Chet Adam Rishon, I don't quote you the words, נפלו ניצוצות הקדושה לתוך קליפות הטומאה. It fell, the ניצוצות, the spark of kedusha, of holiness, fell into the peels, the klipot of the tum'ah. And the meaning is that what you see from outside is the klipa, is the cover, is the peel, is not the real thing. That's what you see. So since then, when you look at the world, what you see is a false. It's a peel. Imagine an orange. Imagine somebody who never saw an orange in his life. You took him to the forest and show him an orange tree. If this person do not know what orange is, what is he seeing is that just the peel. He has no clue what's in it. The problem is that the peel, which is very important, without the peel the fruit will not grow, right? Will not develop. But the problem is that the peel pretend that it's the fruit itself. So this is it. You look at the world, you think you see reality. What you see is only the peel, is not the thing itself. Where is the real thing? It's hidden, or it's in jail, in the peel. So this is the meaning of V'haya hara mitgaber bekulo. Because be aware of the following. Hashem created good and evil before Adam Rishon got to the picture. But when Adam Rishon chose, he was the one, and Hashem gave it into his hand, either to put the good above or to put the evil above. And he did it. They did it when they put the evil above. So they changed the balance in the world. And the bad, the evil is dominant now. And we see it in the action of what happened in the history. Right after the Chet Adam Rishon was the first murder in the world. In the next generation, Doro shel Enosh, az uchal likro b'shem Hashem, they start to idol worshipping, meaning to take some other forces who are not the real force and relate to them like the real force and ignore the real force. 7 generations after was the Mabul. So we see the effect of Hitgabrut Hara, what he called here, that the evil getting stronger and stronger. 10 generations after the Mabul was Migdal Bovel, also tried to rebel against Hashem. We do not want you here. And at this generation, Avraham Avinu was born. And it's very important, all this review. Avraham Avinu was born 20 generations after Chet Adam Rishon. Until his time, we see the evil getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I'm going back to the words of the Ramchal. והיה הרע מתגבר בכולו, עד שלא נמצא מקום לטוב שיתחזק כלל. So we find out that the evil getting stronger and the good become weaker and weaker and weaker. Now, ואף על פי שנברא אברהם אבינו עליו השלום להיות הוא וזרעו להשם נבדלים מן האומות. I mentioned before that Avraham Avinu he's called in the Torah, and the Medrash explain, אברהם העברי שהוא עומד מעבר אחד וכל העולם כולו עומד מעבר אחר. He is standing alone against the entire universe. And Hashem chose him. And Hashem told him, listen, okay, get out of this place, go to the place where to the land, and I will make out of you a great nation. Now, there is a promise that Hashem will make out of him a great nation, but it's not actualized yet. What we have now is only Avraham, with the potential of the nation that is not there yet. So here we start, and this is what in the Machshava and the Kabbalah, this is the essence of what's happening actually. There is a notion called berur, levarer. Levarer is to... No, levarer, it's more like a sifter. To separate. The process of the tikkun is to take the good that was captured and surrounded by the bad, by the evil, and separate them. Separate them like in a sifter, to take the good and put the bad aside. But it will not be easy. It will take the history time. It started by Avraham Avinu, right? So there is good over here, and this good is trying to get out from its captivity, but it will take time. Let's see. ואף על פי שנברא אברהם אבינו עליו השלום להיות הוא וזרעו להשם נבדלים מכל האומות, הנה עדיין לא היה להם מקום שיוכלו להתחזק ולהתכונן בבחינת אומה שלמה. If I will go in more details about the things of this process of separating the good from the evil, we could see the following. Avraham Avinu was married to Sarah, but he has few children. He has Ishmael, and he has Yitzchak from Sarah, and he has Bnei Keturah. We could see that even by his descendants, not everybody continued. Ishmael was sent away. Bnei Keturah also was sent away, and it's continued through Yitzchak. In the case of Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak was his only son from Sarah. The others were from different wives, Hagar or Bnei Keturah, if it's the same or not. Anyway, it's not. They are not brothers of Yitzchak from the mother, only from the father. So that was the first. The first thing was that Hashem says, "You go from Ur Kasdim, separate from Artzecha Moladetcha Mibet Avicha." That was the first thing. The second was in his own children. Only Yitzchak continued, and Yishmael and Bnei Keturah was pushed away, or they are not there. But here we come to Yitzchak. Yitzchak has two sons. They were brothers. They were twins. They were from the same father and the same mother. So here is the strongest evil that is so stuck to the Kedusha, even in the descendants of Avram and Yitzchak. When we come to clean up all this extras, when Yaakov Avinu has the Shvatim. Yaakov has the Shvatim, and all of them are shifted Ko. The Shvatim went to Mitzrayim because of Yosef and the whole story. And in Mitzrayim, so we have here three things: Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Then the 12 Shvatim. Then Shiv'im Yordei Mitzrayim. The Shivim Nefesh Yerdu Avotecha Mitzrayima. And here in Mitzrayim, the nation were created, actually. And from Mitzrayim came the nation. The nation is the 600,000 Yotzei Mitzrayim. This is the nation. To this, Hashem, when Hashem says to Avram, Ve'escha legoy gadol, I will make out of you a great nation, he meant 600,000 Yotzei Mitzrayim. So, we'll go back to the Ramchal. The Ramchal says, there is a process, and in this process, the good should be separated from the evil. And Hashem says, and here we come to Bris Ben Abisal. Hashem says to Avraham Avinu, Yadua teida, ki ger yeh zaracha be'eretz lo lahem. Va'avadum ve'inu otam. So in order to really separate the good from the evil, the good has to go through this process of going to a place that not their place, because remember again, you're talking about fixing Chet Odom Rishon. The Chet caused losing the place. Now we want to put back the things in their place. So it should be coming from no place to their place. Therefore, they should be not in their place. Be'eretz lo lahem. But it's not easy. Over there, they should be slaves and torture slaves. And about the slavery, in brief, just few things. It's also connected to Chet Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon has, Chet Adam Rishon has many impacts. One of them, the famous one, is death. Right? But it's not just this. I mentioned the Golus. Vaigaresh et Adam mi Gan Eden. He was losing his place in Gan Eden. And another thing is he became a slave. Remember? Hashem told him, Beze'at apecha tochal lechem. Vaigaresh et Adam la'avod et Adama. He became an oived. Oved, it's Eved. Ayin Bedalet, which is Avdus. So we find it by Adam Rishon. And we find that the way to fix it, the descendants of Avram has to go to not their place. Gerim be'eretz lo lahem, not in their place. They have to be slaves. But they have to be not just slaves, but the torture slaves. Now, slavery...
So how does that correlate to Adam Rishon? The torture and the goals?
Wait, I'm going to this. Slavery. So we have to understand why, we a little bit explained why Golus is a thing that you should do in order to fix the sin. Sin is put things not in their place, therefore you lose your place. Now, why Avdus? Why Eved? Why Bezat Apecha Tochal Lechem? Let's speak first about Adam Rishon. Hashem created the world, Shamayim va'aretz. Bereshit bara Elokim et Hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Shamayim is a spiritual dimension in the universe. Aretz is the physical. So this is the right order. Shamayim first and Aretz second. Meaning the Aretz or the physical is the mean, and the goal is the Shamayim, the spiritual. The Chet was to change the order. To put the Aretz the center, and the Shamayim just a mean of it. And that's actually what happened. Let me explain this. When Adam Rishon got the commandment from Hashem, you see this tree, Mikol etz hagan achol tochel, you could eat from all the fruits of the garden, but not from this tree. And Hashem told him, Ki biyom acholcha mimenu mot tamot. If you'll eat from it, you will become immortal. You'll bring on yourself death. Death meaning a temporary existence. Okay. After Hashem commanded him, the Nachash, which is the Sitra Achra, the other side, the Satan, the Yetzer Hara, came and says to him, I mean him and Chava, Hashem told you not to, I'm saying, yeah, do it, go ahead. Why? I mean, why they should listen to Hashem, to the Nachash when Hashem said, and Hashem said it's a death penalty. So the Nachash has a power of a power of temptation. What was the temptation? It's mentioned over there, without going to details, because that's the whole story, a whole thing by itself, to explain Chet Adam Rishon. But if you remember, it's mentioned that when Chava was convinced to do what the Nachash says, in the beginning she said, no way. Hashem said no. But he said something, and that changed her mind. It's mentioned that the Nachash says, Ki yodea Elohim, ki biyom acholchem imenu v'nifkechu enechem v'yitem ke'Elohim yodei tov v'ra. After he finished this speech, it's mentioned over there the following. V'tere ha'isha, ki tov ha'etz lema'achal, v'chi ta'ava hu la'einayim, v'nechmad ha'etz la'askil. Three things. Tov ha'etz lema'achal, it looks very good, very tasty. Tov lema'achal. Ta'ava hu la'einayim, the eye desire it. V'nechmad ha'etz la'askil. Nechmad meaning it's connected to the word lo tachmod, when you want something very much, something that belongs to you. That's called chemda. V'nechmad ha'etz la'askil. So, what's la'askil? What's la'askil?
To get knowledge, understand.
To see clearly.
To get knowledge? Okay, but because it's nechmad la'askil, lo tachmod is always when you want something that's not belong to you. So it was a haskala, and it's a knowledge that's not good for you, but it's desirable. Therefore, okay, so those three things. Why Hashem created in the first place this tree, Etz Hadat Tova? If it's a tree of knowledge, Hashem created it and he said, no, don't eat from it. What, he wants us to be stupid, not smart, not intelligent? So we have to know that this knowledge, the knowledge of this tree, is not a good knowledge. It's a very bad knowledge to us. Why? What's so bad about it? Because it's mixing good and evil. And it's reducing the real clarity of the real knowledge about the reality. Okay, but it's desirable because when you create for yourself, imaginary world, you could do whatever you want in this imaginary world. So it's denying the real reality, creating a smart, knowledgeable, my world, that in this world I could do whatever I want. This is it, in brief. Yeah, exactly. So, Hashem said to them, don't eat from this tree. And they did. And what was the motivation to do it? The motivation to do it was, I want my physical dimension to be dominant, and I will find the meaning in my life in my physical dimension. That was it. And this is the Tov ha'etz lema'achal, which is physical pleasure. Ta'ava hu la'inayim, it's a physical desire. V'nechmad etz laskil, to rationalize my physical fake reality that I'm creating to myself.
What's the third?
Ta'ava hu la'inayim.
And then the next?
No, the first, the former.
Tova.
Tov ha'etz lema'achal.
Yeah.
ונכ...
Nachman?
רגע.
No,
No, mixing it up.
להשכיל.
טוב העצם האכל ונחמד העץ להשכיל, תאווה הוא לעיניים, רגע. כי טוב העצם האכל וכי תאווה הוא לעיניים ונחמד העץ להשכיל.
Each one of them is physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them are physical. So, actually what was going on in Adam Rishon? His mind, which is the function, his seichel, which is the function of the spiritual dimension, told him, listen to Hashem. His impulse, that was the function of his body, told him, listen to the Nachash. What he should do, overcome the physical, the impulse by the mind, by the seichel. That was the right way. The chet was that he changed the order. He took the physical and make it the main thing, and he took the seichel and rationalized what is he doing. Right? That was the chet Adam Rishon. What was the punishment? Mida keneged mida. Hashem told him, listen, you took the physical, you made it, I made the physical. The real place of it is to be a mean, not a goal. You want it as a goal? Fine. Now be slave of it. You decided that it's important, right? Now you will be the slave of the physical needs. And therefore you have to work hard in order to exist physically. Avoida. Avoida is a function, it's a pal yotzeh, it's something that must come out of your bad choice. You choose that the physical is not what it should really be as a goal, as the physical should be a mean, and you put it as a goal. Now be a slave of it. So therefore, slavery is an outcome to fix the chet. Now let's go to Mitzrayim. Hashem put us in Mitzrayim as slaves. The idea is to purify part of the descendants of Adam Rishon, those who are qualified because they are the sons of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, in order to take the extra physical that accumulate since Chet Adam Rishon, to purify them, they have to be slaves. So it's not a punishment on things that we did, as we said, but in order for us to really regain the level of Adam Rishon before the Chet, we have to go through this process. Now, why torture? Torturing, slavery is by itself hard. And if you look at it or think about it, it's really frustrating. You have to work hard in order to just exist temporarily. This is the tragic thing. What Hashem told him? בזיעת אפיך תאכל לחם עד שובך אל האדמה. Meaning, you're going to die anyway, but until you'll die, you will have to work hard in order to make your temporary existence. This is crazy. So, in order to make the process faster, in order to do it, they have to be tortured. So you, in one concentrate time, you should be in this situation that after that you will clear yourself from the extra, something that's called in the Kabbalah, Zohamat HaNachash. Zohamat HaNachash is the extra physical, spiritual impurity that Chet Adam Rishon caused. And it's related to all descendants of Adam Rishon. So here Hashem promised Avram, and that's why he said to him in the beginning, Yadoa Teida. Double knowledge. You have to know that there is no other way but this way. In order for me to fulfill the promise that I will make out of you a great nation who could fix Chet Adam Rishon by what? By saying what you said. Avraham Avinu was against the entire world, and what he said. Vayikra sham b'shem Hashem kel olam. He was the one who screamed, and he was against the entire world was against him. And he said, there is only one owner, one ribbon, one master to the universe, Hashem. And that actually what Adam Rishon should say when the Nachash says, don't listen to Hashem. But Adam didn't do it. And Avraham Avinu wants to fix it. And Hashem told him, you cannot do it by yourself. The nation that I will make out of you will do it. But in order the nation to be able to do this, it first has to purify itself. That's why in Bris Ben Avitorim Hashem told him, Yadua teda ki ger yazaracha be'eretz Elohim, va'avadum ve'inu otam, and this is the real meaning of ve'acharei chen yetz'u berechush gadol. And at the end, they will come out with a great fortune. The fortune is not just bizat hayam ve'bizat Mitzrayim. It's not just the money. The real fortune is to regain the level of Adam Rishon before the Chet. So this is the real reason of Golus Mitzrayim and Yetzias Mitzrayim. And that's what we're doing when we sing Shema. And that was Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was bothered. From where in the Torah we know that we have to say Shema, Parshas Tzitzis, even at nighttime. Why even at nighttime? Let's finish with this. Every day is daytime. So, a complete day is 24 hours that started in the nighttime, Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Boker. We sang in מזמור שיר ליום השבת, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. There is morning and night. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. Chazal says that this world, compared to the world to come, this world, the entire world, דומה ללילה, והעולם הבא דומה ליום. העולם הזה דומה ללילה, העולם הבא דומה ליום. The difference between day and night, that in the daytime, you could see clearer. You could see clearer in the daytime. The reality is the same reality, daytime and nighttime. The difference is your ability to see the reality. Okay? Nighttime is Golus. Nighttime is when Hashem is not obvious everywhere. So at nighttime, you need emunah. Emunatcha balelot. So nighttime is nighttime, but nighttime also is the entire, this world. העולם הזה כולו דומה ללילה. So you have different levels of night and day, night and day. As I said, in Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hashem shows clearly who is the master of the universe. It was so clarity about, but the darkness come right after. And we're still in darkness. And we have to remember, what? Yeah.
How was there a tikkun?
So then, right.
How what?
How was there a tikkun? How did we get to the level of Adam HaRishon before the Chay?
It was a process. It was a process. And as the...
And then
this
happened.
Okay.
I'm also not getting it.
Try to remember what we just quoted before from the Ramchal. ונשאר הדבר לנצח. It's irreversible. Meaning, when we went out of Mitzrayim, a big thing of the klipa of the is off, and it's off forever. Even if we will sin after, and we did, we will never go back to Mitzrayim. I didn't explain what Mitzrayim is, but Mitzrayim is Mitzrayim is, as you know, in Mitzrayim was 50 levels of Tumah, right? Hashem created 50 levels, 50 gates of Bina in the world and 50 gates of Tumah. Mitzrayim has all 50. And when Hashem sent us, He didn't just send us Le'eretz Lo Lahem, not their country, but He sent us to the most Tumadik place in the world, because in order to fix, we have to be in the most against Kedusha place, and from there, we should be taken. And we were taken when we reached 49 before the 50th. We went out of Mitzrayim. When we went out of Mitzrayim, the going out of Mitzrayim is irreversible. Irreversible. Even if we will sin after, and we did, we will never go back to Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the closed place. Mitzrayim in Hebrew are Meitzar, and you know the letter Yud and Mem always at the end of a word in Hebrew is plural, right? Yad, Yadayim, Regel, Raglayim, Ozen, Oznaim, it's plural. Meitzar is a fence. Mitzrayim is a complete, sealed, closed fence. And the Medrash says, Me'olam lo barach eved miMitzrayim. Never. And therefore, only Hashem could take us out of Mitzrayim, and He did. And when He took us out of Mitzrayim, there is no way back to Mitzrayim. You could go back, but not to Mitzrayim. And Chet Egel and the other Chataim that we are Israel. We are Israel in Israel. Af al pi shechata Israel. Even the most Jew who sinned, the most amazing sins, he is still Israel, and this is Geulat Olam. When we went out of Mitzrayim, we went Geulat Olam. Of course, every time that we sin, we're going to pay for it, but it's not going to be compared to Chet Adam Rishon. So we are the only one who could fix Chet Adam Rishon, and this is the journey to the end of days. At the end of days, it will be revealed. Let's go back to the Leilos and the Yomim, and we'll finish with this. So Laila is when the Golus is so heavy, so thick, the darkness is so thick you could not see. Yetzias Mitzrayim was in the darkness of Olam Hazeh. Hashem shows who is the master of the universe. And we got it, and we pass it from generation to generation. We know it deep in our heart, and therefore it's very important to us to remember it every day and every night. Day and night, the day is more clear, but the nighttime is the deepest, is the deepest darkness. So when we remember it, says the Ramchal at the end, that every time that you recite Shema and say it, the fact that you mention it in words is awaking the Kedusha force that still in captivity, and every time that you do it, every time that every Jew say it, every day and every night during the history, it's mechazik the kochot HaKedusha. It's give them strength, and at the end we will go out of this darkness, and the truth will be revealed to the entire world. But we will have part of it because we were the one that when it was hidden, we knew the truth. Okay, so this is Yetzias Mitzrayim, and this is what we could say about the essence of Golus and Geulas Mitzrayim. And you have to remember again, as a nation, we were created in Golus. We are created in the most tumadik place in the world in order to get out of it and know the truth and be the representative of the spiritual truth in the world. So this is it. Thank you.
Very good.